Guys, so up next we have a 4 Latvians coming here on the stage, and afterwards there will be some time for questions. And if you want to ask the question, so please download the app, write the question, and yeah, those people will answer. And all right, there's no time to waste. And first of all, I would like to welcome Dalius Matvejevas, who is gonna be a moderator for this discussion. So, Dalius, welcome.
Sveiki kolegos, welcome everyone, welcome to our afternoon panel discussion with our 4 braliukai, guests from Latvia, and let me present them one by one. So, ladies and gentlemen, meet Maksims Krivunecs, president of the Latvian Futbola Virsliga. Labdien, Maksims. Now, participant number 2 is Karlis Lejnieks, advisor on sports matters for Minister for Education and Science of Latvia, with also a big experience at the Latvian Olympic Committee as Secretary General. Our guest number 3 is Edgars Buls, president of basketball club Rigas Zelli. Labdien, Edgars. And our guest number 4, the one and only, the famous tennis player Ernests Gulbis, who is currently the president of the Latvian Tennis Federation and former ATP rating number 10. So, today's our topic is called Latvia Sports Experience and Perspectives Insights for the Baltic Sports Business Landscape. As you can understand, we'll speak about Latvian sports system, how it works, what are their joys and difficulties, what maybe we can learn from them, do they have some ideas what we can use. And question number 1 that I would like any of you, everybody knows that sport number 1 in Lithuania is basketball, but we never know, or we are not sure at least, what is sport number 1 in Latvia. Sometimes they say it's ice hockey, sometimes they say it's basketball, sometimes it's football. Maksims, you will say it's football, right?
First of all, thank you for having us. It's really a pleasure to be here, a really interesting conference to learn and to meet nice people. But if we speak about sports in Latvia, it's a difficult, very difficult question. I would say it depends on the data you consider, because in terms of the participation, the majority of the kids are engaged in football, the most accessible sport. But if you consider other values like traditions, like historic results, I would say ice hockey and basketball, they are like, you might feel when there is a national holiday after the 3rd place in a hockey, it means something to people, right? So it depends on the stats, but I think the big sports need to cooperate more to get, not to divide who is the biggest, but just in general to develop the sports system.
Does anyone agree with Maksims?
Completely, 100%. Maxim is only telling the truth. No, but my opinion is that in relatively small country like Latvia, anything what is happening at that moment, it's popular. If we have skeleton, if we have basketball, if we have hockey, so this is like a big celebration for the nation. But I think that in general, you don't need to even think about who is more popular, who is less popular. If you think from a country's perspective, the main thing what a country needs to concentrate is on a healthy nation. So it means big masses, putting a lot of kids into sport, keeping them active, and there I think that collaboration between sports can be without limit.
Okay, thank you, nice insight. But tennis is not the number 1, right?
How do you know? Ernest made it very popular, especially gathering results. I completely agree with Ernest. If we have sport results in any particular sports, it always drags attention, especially for a smaller nation, because it's important for us.
I would say basketball and ice hockey are top sports in Latvia, but when clubs such as RFS competes in Europe League, it's a big hype now. when Ernests won Roger Federer back in 2014 and advanced in semifinals in Roland Garros. It was big hype. When Yelena Ostapenko won Roland Garros in 2017. So I can agree with Ernest. At current moment, that's sport number one. In 2017, probably it was tennis for a month. Now probably it's football's time because RFS yesterday debuted in Europa League. So it changes. It's a bit harder for us because in the Lithuania is everything clear. You want to build some sports business, run basketball, most likely. In Latvia, we have to sometimes compete between each other.
Sometimes we have different. We were a swimming country for a very short period. This year we were breaking country for like a couple of evenings, but yeah. Let's move on to our topic. Can you give us a brief insight on how Latvian sports system works? How is it organized? We have like sports ministry, education and science. It's on the very top. We have like Olympic committee besides it, then federations, leagues, clubs. Maybe Karlis, you were on the Olympic committee, so on the very top of the whole sports system. How would you describe it? How it works?
I think in Baltics in general, it's every country is a little bit different, but the main idea is of course the ministry, which is the money giving organization, and then you have the NGOs, non-governmental organizations, which are Olympic Committee, Sports Confederation, and in general the federations themselves. So to me, it's quite simple. As a ministry should give in general the political ways, and all the non-governmental organizations should basically work for themselves with the help of the ministry, and by help I mean budgets to achieve potential goals. And then, yeah, and the rest already comes down the players, the coaches, and what, for example, Ernest already said, that the main idea is to involve as many people, not only kids, but in general, as many people to be more active. Because just to sum up, high performance sport is in general what gives you impulse for the society to do and to be active.
I think it's important to add that I think from the government side, you should prioritize certain sports, and you should put in more money in certain sports. Historically, for example, we have Siguldas Trasa, so historically, we have Olympic medals. If it's important for the country, this is where you should go. But I think that it's important to divide in a way that you have the private sector. For example, you have private infrastructure, private clubs, and then if you have government-owned infrastructure in those sports, you should be really smart in not competing, with the private sector, because the government, they can usually give better prices. For example, for a tennis court, they can, for example, we have Lielupe Tennis Center. The prices are, let's say, 9-10 euros cheaper than any other clubs. I think that this is not the correct way. I also heard that, for example, in hockey, that you have government-run and government-based sports center like Daugava, and then they compete with the private sector, and then in a way the private sector dies out. So I think it's really important if the government prioritizes certain sports, okay, but don't compete in the private sector from the infrastructure point of view.
Yeah, this point of view reminds me of the story we had like a couple years ago. I guess it's all the same in Latvia, probably Estonia. We were analyzing, discussing the practice of Iceland, where how do their community clubs work and everything, infrastructure given to the clubs and etc. We see that as a role model as that we should implement in Lithuania for the future, but unfortunately we didn't manage to do anything in these last years. Maybe we'll do it in the future. Are there any similar ideas in Latvia? Maybe do you follow Iceland as well, what they did?
Yeah, on this one, I've been talking with the Icelandic Olympic Committee, which are in charge in general in sports in Iceland. And there's another great example, Slovenia. For example, they're also the ones who want to be, they have a goal for the ministry and for the Olympic Committee. That 70% of the whole population in Slovenia are active 3 times a week, for example. Now they're, I don't know, 60% and so on. But of course, everybody wants to take a the perfect example of these countries. But the most important part is that do we have this strategy to do that? To be honest, at the moment, at least in Latvia, we don't have like a strategy for 5, 7, or 10 years in place. Everybody comes out with everybody agrees with it. Yeah, we need a active nation, but the strategy, how to achieve it and how to make it. And to be honest, that for example, as in Lithuania, it's education, science and sports ministry, but the same almost in Latvia, but where's the health ministry? And these parts are not together already in government. So this is the big topic, how to align these institutions that basically are in charge. And this is already politics instead of just NGOs.
Yeah, so we are on the same page, more or less, with all these ideas, I guess. Maybe someday, some way. For what I know, government is quite strict with sports in Latvia. Remembering things from COVID pandemic, when like 2 Latvian football teams were coming to Lithuania to play each other because they were not allowed to play in Latvia. Different other things. How do you see the situation? Is there some dialogue between sports and the very top government? How do you work with them? Do they listen to you, to the sports community?
Well, I can relate to that case with COVID. I think what we need to reform the sports law in Latvia, which doesn't reflect how the sports industry should develop, especially professional one, because at that time, the sports clubs were like more considered like a hobby from the government point of view. So when everybody already returned to their work, still football could not be played. And we started also the campaign to show that, listen, we want to play because for the football players, this is their professional life. They earn money with the Virsliga is a professional league, so everybody is earning money with that. And we thought like this is an important moment and a step where we can start dialogue and to change the sports law. For example, if we take the Spanish league, so there is a big document describing the relationships between the players and the clubs and the leagues. So there are 4 professional leagues in Spain. Football, 2 divisions, women football and the basketball. So the professional leagues, the law protects these leagues, for example, how they can sell the commercial rights. So the professional league can go only centrally to the market. Because previously Real Madrid and Barcelona were going to the market and they were selling their TV rights and they got all the money. So all other small clubs couldn't earn anything from the market. So now by law, it's protected. They go centrally, they sell domestic TV rights, international TV rights, and then distribute money to the whole system. So these kind of things are very important for any league, federation. Of course, we talk about the football where more money, let's say. If you go down the ladder, there is other examples. And to make a unified system is very, very hard to find because so many stakeholders, different size and different development models.
But Maksims, do you know the doors that you need to open to come through with your ideas? Are they opening when you are trying?
You know, honestly, I'll tell you, so I'm not so good at it. I have my colleagues that are dealing with this, with the communication with the government institutions. I'm more about the commercial side, about the creating strategy for the league development. And of course, it's important, but sometimes I just, I don't want to spend time on it. I know that I'm good at these things. I need to concentrate on development of the league, digitalization, creating a digital ecosystem, developing the clubs, and I just adapt to the environment. I would be happy if the environment would change, honestly, but I do what I can do. But I guess the guys are doing a great job, and I think young, clever, that are proactive, and they have bright ideas in their mind. So I'm pretty sure that in the next couple of years they will have a change.
Ernests, you are a well-known person. Doors should be more easy for you to open. How do you find your ways as a president of the federation? Do they listen to you? Are you welcome to speak, to present your ideas?
I agree with the answer here. I'm also concentrating on a little bit different things because I think that all these bureaucratical processes are extremely long and painful. I think that our sports community in Latvia is fragmented. For example, our Olympic committee, it was surrounded by some couple scandals. The system in general, for me, it's pretty strange because let's say you have Olympic committee is consisting from approximately 40 federations, 39 federations. So every federation has 2 votes. And then you have, so 39 multiplied by 2, so this is the votes from the federations. And then you have individual members, where it's like 30-something people, which can take, Peter, John, Max, come here, be an individual member. So what they did now in the Olympic Committee, the smaller federations came together. They had I think 40 votes. And percentage-wise, it was, I think, less than 7 or for sure less than 10% from all the athletes in Latvia, which these federations represent. So then between them, they decided, okay, we're going to vote for these 30 people, so we get the votes. And basically, they have their president, who is more in a way, on their side. By words, of course, he needs to bring it back together. But the whole system is a bit wrong. And then, the government, for example, the politicians see that this Olympic committee and the sports, they cannot make up their own minds, so then they try to distance themselves. So I think that this is the big problem. And I agree with you that you're not sure that you want to spend too much time there, and with the hope of changing something.
We hope on Karlis, who is our
Karlis
generation
left.
guy.
Karlis left already. So.
Karlis
There's
left,
no hope
Karlis
anymore.
left Latvian Olympic Committee, but he's now joined the ministry. So we hope that you will hear us. You will hear our generation's ideas.
We will come the next year with the update.
Yeah, okay. Agreed on
Quickly
that.
to add on, I think in general, the initiatives, I think we should look at Baltics in general together, because every country, of course, there's different constitution and the laws and itself, but we can use each other best practices, and we are not so big in Baltics, and we can be, at least I think in the long run, in sports, we can be aligned with the initiatives and what we can do together, because the markets are, in general, they're small. And if we are joined and we have the same, let's say what we discussed before the meeting, the same rules in Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, it's going to be much, much easier and more understandable.
A small comment. I believe that first we need to fix our house, and then we can talk about some kind of, partnership with other countries. If our house is not in order, then it's, I think that's the first step.
Okay, I would like to touch one more topic that is important worldwide, not only in the Baltic countries, but we have quite similar situations, but with different outcomes so far. Lithuania is in the process of banning advertisements of all the gambling, the betting first of all. But there is lobbying going on, and government did listen to sports federations, to sponsors, to everyone, how it works, because it's important source of funding for clubs, for leagues, for federations. And in Latvia, I guess it's already implemented. How was the process, and how did it impact Latvian sport? Can any one of you, maybe Maksims, because betting companies in the name of the Virsliga, yeah?
Yes. So it's a very difficult question, because I would say today the whole betting industry in our country is somewhere in the middle. It's in a gray area, because we have the betting companies are prohibited from advertising, but at the same time you can see TonyBet, Virsliga, you can see other organizations, sports organizations having the similar names. So it's just there is a hole in the law that, for example, if you register the company associated with this company but with the same naming, so you can sign with a sports organization for the naming rights a contract, a sponsorship contract, which actually is a nonsense, because everybody understands that, everybody knows that. So for me, it's better either we go in one direction, we fully prohibit it. But if we fully prohibit betting, so to my mind, half of the leagues, if we talk about the sports, football leagues, will disappear. Because the betting, if you also learn the history, how it started, it was always on the background, it was always close to the sports. And it's nothing bad about that, because usually people mix match fixing with betting. Betting is absolutely legal business, which is really regulated. It's licensed by the government. And if a part, and what was the most important, we don't use data. Everybody speaks that there are many people having the problems with the betting. I have never heard the percentage of people who is using and who is like having problems with that, right? So if people have some problems with alcohol, we don't ban the alcohol at all. If some people has a problem with diabetes, we don't ban like the fast food or this kind of fast fashion industries. There are multiple industries that are requiring more attention than betting, to my mind. Unfortunately, or luckily, probably, I don't have among my friends people that are really struggling with it, and I truly believe that there are people that need help with it. But I think it's the government should pay attention how to help these people, how to regulate this market, so to protect those people that could potentially have the problem, but also allow other people to enjoy the sports while using also betting and not earning money, but just it's like, you can come to the casino to earn money, or you can come to spend time. So this is a big difference.
Okay, I guess we will not solve it here, but maybe can you tell what was the process of banning it? Did maybe we here in Lithuania can learn something from it, from Latvian example?
If I may just point out one thing, we were speaking with Karlis about it, maybe he can go into details, but I think it's important to divide gambling, which is casinos, card games, roulettes, whatever, which you press buttons virtually on a computer and then you're expecting some kind of money. And there is betting on sports. This is, for example, what Mr. Joff said here about engagement. This is in a way fans' engagement. And for sure, for many fans, you have also like certain games, with tokens where, for example, your favorite football team or basketball team plays, you can bet like with fake tokens. This is, not the best thing for kids, but at least they get somehow engaged, For grown-ups, they want to put in money, so this is in a way engagement. And I think it's really important on a government level to divide gambling, which is like typical casino, and sports betting.
I would like just to add from a club's perspective that, as Max already told, if betting companies will be strictly prohibited, like to any kind of advertising, we are sports bars or we are some other companies associated, it will be huge blow for basketball, for football. Let's be honest, betting has always been by sports side, and betting companies earn from sports. That's what they do. Why shouldn't they give back a bit to sports by advertising? Half of Premier League clubs have kid sponsors, betting clubs. I guess all LKL clubs have betting sponsors. I think that this whole situation should be clarified. And of course, if direct advertising would be allowed, much more money Latvian sports would gain from betting companies. But I agree, of course, the situation must be a bit legislated because there can be problems on the health side, and a lot of persons have struggled. There is a register in Latvia where you can put yourself in if you have gambling addiction problems. And I can only suggest to Lithuania, do not prohibit fully betting advertising, because all your favorite clubs and national team will struggle.
Just one more example. Maybe I'm missing, not to be completely exact, but I spoke to some Portuguese federation representative, and I will not tell you exactly, but there the law is that, for example, they have, let's say, in tennis betting, they have, let's say, whatever, a couple tens of millions euros per year, revenue on the tennis. And then what they did in the law, that certain percentage, like whatever, 2, 3, 5% is going for the sports federation. So basically, like if it's tennis federation, it earns from the turnover, from the revenue, which is made on your sport. And then this system is much more better.
And also, a bit unlogically, if government approves that gambling as a process is not criminal and it's legislated, then why not to let advertise it in some way? Otherwise, it's a bit not unlogical.
Karlis, last short remark.
Just a quick fact check that, for example, I was in the talks regarding, because in charge of this gambling, which is not together, gambling with sports betting, which, as Ernest told, I think it should also be divided because it's not the same, are in charge of the health ministry, not the ministry which runs the sports. And at least in Latvia, the sum of potential loss was from 5 to 6 million, which, for example, Virsliga could lose it, the national teams could lose it, and whenever you come with the fact, you can't ignore it, because whenever you ask who's gonna reimburse that money.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Let's move on. Our time is limited. One other thing that I know that Latvian clubs and leagues quite envy to Lithuania, it's funding of professional clubs from municipalities. I would say like 90% or 99% of Lithuanian clubs get some money from municipalities. They are partly funded at least, or somewhere maybe fully even. And from what I know, government doesn't fund professional clubs in Latvia at all. How do you see that? How important is it? Maybe is it right to put more money, like Ernests says, into grassroots sports, not to put it in professional sports? How do you see it, and how do you feel about Lithuanian clubs then?
Edgars has the great experience with municipality.
No, probably we as Rigas Zelli are not probably for sure we are the only club in Latvian basketball league which is not supported by government or municipality money yet. I can put those together because it's taxpayers' money. It's either it comes from government directly or through city. I guess I'm not sure that government should support professional clubs, like maybe it's in Lithuania, or I know in Serbia at least basketball club Partizan is supported by government, 5 million.
They're doing it with both Zvezda and Partizan.
So basically,
No one to be.
So they have strictly stated that basketball is their top priority sports, and they fully supported. I guess if club is representing city and it's doing some social work, promoting healthy lifestyle, helping to attract kids to sports, of course, cities, municipalities should support professional clubs.
Maksims, I guess when you start, we have no time left.
Yeah, so I would say that the government, where it's needed the most, it's sports infrastructure. Where the private investors, it's a big amount of resources required to develop sports infrastructure. And usually you will find out that the return on investment either negative or there is no return on investment in sports. So this is where the private investors are struggling. For the private clubs, I think we can manage, we can create interest in product that could be sold. Or for example, if we have like the swimming pool, it's difficult to build a swimming pool, but to organize a private club and to interesting organize the trainings and the camps and everything, you can do it through the private if there is a creative people enthusiastic what they do. So for me, the government, the most important, they create educational programs also in the government universities like sports management, coaching, and very qualitative. And the second is infrastructure. The private sport would survive if we have these basics too.
I would agree with Max. At least in Latvia, we don't have such certain sports like basketball or whatever. We have several prioritized sports. So firstly, government should help with infrastructure and the systems. And then maybe city should help us, but the majority for professional clubs should come from private sector. This is how I think. If a professional sports club is mostly on public money, then something is wrong with this professional club.
Just to add some statistics, so in Latvia we spend 0.5 of our budget, government budget, on sports and recreation, which is 0.3% less than EU average. And if there was a mentioned Icelandic example in 2016, 2019, they were playing in Euros, World Cup, and we all think that this is a miracle. This is the Viking spirit that they made it. And no, there is not miracle. 3.5% of the budget we're spending per year on sports and recreation, creating a football system within the schools system. And it's hard work, it's investment, care about this investment, and everything is happening. So we need the government to invest more in infrastructure. And currently, for me, it's quite painful to see that I really support all the cultural and events and in developing infrastructure. We renovate a theater for 25, 30 million, and then we started discussing that we need some new arenas for sports, and then we have a negative reaction, why we should build, why we should spend the taxpayers' money. So I think culture and sport is a fundamental parts of every society, and we should be proud that we have these, this infrastructure is developing. But
I'll just add very shortly. I am against financing professional athletes and professional sportsmen. So I believe that if you're a professional sportsman, you have to be able to earn a living doing your thing. You cannot put the burden on your hobby on other taxpayers' money. This is what I fundamentally believe in. I agree about infrastructure. I agree in a certain way that, for example, if there is a really big hockey club or basketball club, which then gives back a lot to the community, you know, then it's a different story. But fundamentally, you don't finance professional athletes.
As professional, by it means you earn money with your job. So you have to.
Otherwise,
you
it's a
have
hobby.
You have to be so good to earn money for yourself. Otherwise, it's hobby, right? And I completely agree.
To finish it off, yes, if we look, government is government, but municipality has to decide their own what they want to achieve in the cultural aspect and in sports, which in this case, it would be professional club, it's entertainment, which in also kind of the same as cultural thing, theater, concerts, so on. It's an entertainment. So municipality should decide if they have strategy, they want to invest in the basketball club, hockey club, football club, which would be just normal.
And each city can do it in their own way. Yeah, so we can live to it. So, but I think from governmental point of view, no direct funding should be to professional clubs, private clubs.
Okay, that is an interesting approach that many clubs in Lithuania would not agree with, I guess, but that's still interesting that we
They
are
have
close,
the
but we have
municipalities, so it's all good.
Yeah, okay. What is the environment for sponsorship in general in Latvia? We talk much for decades already, like businesses should be encouraged to sponsor sports to get some, better conditions, less taxes maybe. How is it in Latvia? Is there some regulations, some laws about it?
Well, I'll just comment, and then because you are much better with numbers, but I think that nowadays you have to compete with a lot of different things. You know, you not only compete with your own market, but you compete with Netflix, with YouTube, with TikTok, with like you compete with everything. And I think that locally in a small market, if you don't have a really like a great product, it's really tough to get money because of the whole economical situation and the competition with the technology. You know, you have to compete. For example, I don't know, Latvian basketball league or football league. You are competitors of NBA, of Champions League. So it's a tough competition.
I can only say, agree with Ernest, that the most important thing is product. And if you have one, and great one, then with all legislation, it's possible to attract sponsors. Because now Rigas, Zelli, we have more than 20 sponsors. I heard Žalgiris has around 50. And I heard that NBA clubs has up to 100. So it's up to club owners, managers, to make product so great, so attractive, as Ernest said, that it's competing.
Not to be lazy.
Not to be lazy, of course. You have to run around and go around, but it's possible. Of course, legislation was probably better 8 or 9 or 10 years ago for donations, but it's now possible even to donate. So I can only say I will put pressure on club representatives, owners and managers. You have to work, sorry for the word, your ass off, and then everybody will come together and will support you. If your product will be attractive, and if companies will see that you can have people following you, that people come to arenas, and in general there is hype in society, companies want to get along with that. So I can only say that my vision is that private clubs should go above legislation. You just have to work harder.
From my side, I can say I don't believe in sponsorship market locally. And that's why I believe that as a league, we need to produce a product and content that people are ready to pay for. So if people are ready to pay for your product, it means that there is quality, and if the audience is growing, then the sponsors will come where after you got this already customer base. So but that's why what we do, we develop the digital ecosystem. We try to track all the interactions with the fans. We try to understand our fans as better as possible, because the always sponsor will ask, who is your customer? Usually what I saw previously in sports, people just coming to the companies and ask, give us money. We are in sports. Give us money because it's cool to support sports. No, but currently the relationships change. The sponsorship, they require data. Why should I sponsor? What's the matter? So you can find the sponsors, and there are a lot of sports enthusiasts. So if you see around Virsliga, there are multiple companies, and we calculated the yearly turnover of these companies, 600 million around the clubs in Virsliga. But the majority of this, because of the sports enthusiasts, not because there is a sustainable system that attracts people.
Great that Max is not a CEO of a basketball league. Something's left for clubs. Otherwise, Max would centralize everything. I'm joking. Because no, we think that leagues should be centralized, and Salvis Matra, who is now in attendance, is doing a good job in that way. But I think that there should be left some individuality for each club, and we as Rigas Zelli are proud that the way how we make content a bit maybe differently from others. So there should be less some individuality.
It's just for the synergy, the club going and selling their marketplace either to sponsors or their commercial rights, it's very hard. And no company will go to every 10 clubs to acquire these rights. So it's better to create a good system where you centralize and you go directly to the market. But I agree with you, our goal is to distribute the funds afterwards. But firstly, we reinvest all the money in the product, and this is the next step to provide the funds to the clubs.
I hope one day that league sponsors will attract so much money from sponsors and also from TV rights that they can distribute a bit between clubs. This is a dream for all Latvian basketball league clubs.
I think just in general, it's a cultural change. The Soviet Union was not so long time ago. And I think that the older generation understands things a bit different than the younger generation. It's normal, people here talk about product. Talk about selling a good product. So you concentrate, first of all, on the product. Unfortunately, I wouldn't like to put like young generation against old generation, but the mentality and the culture was always that we have a certain budget, and then every sport, every person, every club is trying to get a piece of that budget. No, first you concentrate on making a great product, then also another idea is, okay, for example, you can have a ranking-based system. If, for example, your club or your federation attracts private money, then you have a coefficient. Okay, if you attracted that amount of private money, that means that there is really big interest from the public side, and then the government can give some extra money. There can be a lot of solutions, but I think the most important is the cultural change in shift in thinking, that there is no one big budget which we all try to grab a bigger piece out of it.
To finish it off, yes, I believe, and I've been working on, you are selling the story. Whenever you have a story, it doesn't matter, you have an individual person, for example, like Ernest. When I tried and I succeeded to sell him to playing the national team, people are ready to spend money to be part of the story. And it doesn't matter, it's a Virsliga story, it's Rigas Zelli story, it's a tennis story, or the Olympic team. You're selling a story, and you're basically also selling emotions. And this is something what brings that's why I'm saying, to me, sports in this part, it's entertainment, purely. It's the same thing, you go for a concert to your favorite band and you get goosebumps.
You sell banners, you sell emotions, and you sell some kind of community.
What is more expensive, happiness or anger or sadness? Give me a
We all have been in Žalgiris matches, and it's great
What gets more
great
clicks
emotions.
and attention online, it's usually bad things.
At the national team games, at the stadium football, we have a big banner that's saying that football is not only joy, but also suffering. So, because we suffer a lot on the national team level in football,
We
know
feel you
everything
over
about
here.
suffering.
Okay,
those emotions.
We've got still a couple of minutes left. There is a theory that you need 10 million people market to have a successful commercial league. You, Maksims, are one of the biggest fans, and you are pushing for the Baltic League in football. Not everywhere, not everyone wants
Not enough
even to
time.
listen to you.
Finally.
But you know, and we've tried. There is volleyball Baltic League, handball. We've tried it in basketball.
We would be
Lithuanian
super
clubs.
happy if there would be state Baltic Basketball League.
Yeah, but Lithuanian clubs did withdraw from the Baltic leagues.
Too
and
strong you are, but hopefully one day we'll get back.
Okay, so Maksims, you have the last minute to explain why doesn't it work and why should it work? How can it work? Because nobody did it yet successfully.
Yes. First of all, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I just realized that this is a necessity, because if you have a strong local domestic competition, it's always good to keep that way, because in every system there should be boundaries. There are parts that are working and it's perfectly. What I see that you cannot ignore what is happening in very homogeneous market. Football, I don't know about I can talk about only football. Football is very homogeneous market. All the countries are interconnected with the transfer systems, player going from Virsliga to Belgium, from Belgium to Premier League, the same regulation, same competitions. You win Virsliga, you enter European competition with other clubs. So it's very interconnected. So you cannot ignore what your competitors doing, because our clubs competing within the league, but we as a league compete with other leagues for the sponsorship, for the money, and the gap is increasing dramatically between us and even medium leagues, like we say Slovenia, Slovakia, because the main fuel for the league development is domestic TV deal. So this is where you get the money. The people are ready to pay for your product, and then you reinvest in the product. You give the money to the clubs. They increase. As I say, Premier League was not created by the Premier League. Premier League was created by Sky Sports. Sky Sports made the Premier League, they made the product, they developed the system, how to film the games, how to put them. They have an enormous budget, marketing budget, enormous amount of people working in the marketing. So that's the thing. I support Baltic League just because I understand today in Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, domestic TV deal is zero. People are not ready because it's also the process of centralization. If we can create a single product. Imagine that you can watch any games, and our games, the best teams, for example, Žalgiris play against RFS 2 times per year. So we play the domestic league, and then there is at some part of the competition, we have these big games. And you can watch it in a good quality in one single platform, and we can improve your experience as a fans, because we can produce then more content around the games, TV shows to attract more football pundits or sport to commentate these games. So that's how you can create the product, and then to keep this gap, because 6 million market is a Baltic market, is the same market as the Denmark. Denmark selling for 53 million their domestic TV rights. It's impossible to get this level, but if we can realize 10%, which is absolutely manageable, to realize that potential is already, let's say, for 5 million more investment that we can get. And as I say, money is it's not the purpose of the money. Money is just amount of work we can do. So for 5 million more is just a lot of quality we can bring to the Baltic football. But it's not the matter of creating a Baltic just for the sake of doing it. It's just the method how to keep the competition, because we want to see RFS, Žalgiris, Flora playing in Europe League and Conference League. Is what, yesterday 33,000 at the stadium RFS played. On the 3rd of October we have Galatasaray. Already 80% of the stadium sold. People want these games.
Okay, thank you, Maksims. Thank you everyone for now, and I would like to invite Sharunas, who has still some questions maybe from the online audience.
All right, thank you guys. And we still have few minutes until the next presenter. So I have a few questions from the audience. And first of all, I would like to start with a question to Karlis. How country helps sports, and what tools Latvia is using to develop grassroots and pro sports?
Yeah, Karlis, how you help us? Please answer. Honestly.
We can feel something already.
The main thing is the grassroots goes through the federations. That's how it works, and this is something what Ernest touched a little bit on it, that this is for the mass sports. You have, let's say, football is with the highest quantity, then we have a basketball, then it's volleyball, handball, let's say team sports. So it goes through federations. How to do it to help more? unfortunately, only with the budget, because the more resources you're gonna have it, the more you can most likely accommodate. High performance sport is something completely other, and as I was in Olympic committee for a time period, yes, it goes more centralized through Olympic committee, and we have Olympic team. But to me, it's also a little bit strange that team sports are not in the Olympic team, and then only individual sports are in the Olympic team. To me, it should be also centralized if we want to support high performance sports, where it's only the main thing is result. It just has to be in one place. And also, unfortunately, to succeed in high performance sport, you need the budget, you need the coaches, and you have to be ready, and you need to have the will to pay for coaches and for all the necessary things to achieve these results. Because whenever you go, it doesn't matter with the national team or the Olympic Games, which we just have, you compete in the world. You don't compete with each other. We can go and play paddle between each other. The rest is in the world. That's it.
Okay, thank you. And Karlis, one more question to you. Does Latvia need a bigger unified stadium, in your opinion?
Bigger what?
Unified stadium.
Stadium?
Like a stadium for many sports, not for only like football or athletics.
We have a discussion regarding the football stadium. To me, unified stadium, I'm not sure. I wouldn't say that. If it's outdoors, we already have the stadium and the new one also. Then the question is how good we are in, for example, in football to have a stadium. Most likely we need to have one, but what you're gonna fill the rest of the year? Let's be honest. We have 8 months winter season, and we have also Arena Riga, which is the only one, and we have one more coming up, which is government owned, which is like multifunctional, which basically is the one you asked for.
I would say Max will agree that probably we need high level football stadium in our country, because national team and now RFS doesn't have a like nice place to play top level matches. Because unified stadium, we can call Daugava unified stadium.
Yeah, I think we're missing the fourth category UEFA stadium, because first of all, everything we need to treat from the investment point of view. It's professional football. UEFA gives every year 10 million to Latvian sports that is reinvested in the youth system, in the clubs, in the competitions. So UEFA has a prerequisite. You need to have a fourth category stadium. If we don't have, so it's in 10 years, it's like 100 million. So if we want to keep this investment going to our country and increasing, we need to meet these standards. And of course, now these stadiums are multifunctional. It's not only about the football, but for the concerts as well. So, and sometimes it's create the problems, right? But we need this. The stadiums actually bought the tickets for Timberlake. Thank you. But it's joking. Of course, it's difficult to manage these infrastructures.
I don't believe, for example, football stadium has to be coming from government. If we are talking about new football stadium, then it has to be on a business case from municipality. Let's say Riga, basically it's like a small country with 700,000 people. So if municipality can understand on what cases they want to build it, then they should build it, definitely. But in nowadays that everybody is trying to get everything out of government. Government is also limited.
Just the last remark. So for Virsliga, for example, we don't need a national stadium, right? We have an average attendance of 600 people. For the big games, we have 5,000, right? So the national stadium is needed for the national team, where the people go and unified. And I remember 2004, actually we won in 2003, Turkey went to the Euros. Fantastic event. Everybody is united. The stadium gives you this feeling. So you support the same as basketball and hockey. We have a nice arena. You go, you can sit in a comfortable chair. You can take some food, drinks, and enjoy the game. And sometimes it's not about the result, but coming together and supporting. For Virsliga, we don't need this big stadium. But for the national team was it's like a face. So if you want to show basketball, hockey, and football is the best export to show your country. Honestly.
All right, great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Big
you.
applause for Brad Lukas
you.
from Latvia for sharing their experience in their country. Thank you very much, guys.